So the Pixel 2 launch wasn't exactly what most of us phone reviewers were expecting. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Thomas and today I'm going to be covering the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL in just a little bit of criticism. So mainly I'll be focusing on the Pixel 2 rather than the XL. The XL was slightly different to the Pixel 2 and we did get some funny hints of a Pixel Ultra. Of course they never released this or they never talked about it. Maybe they will soon, maybe they won't, we don't know. Let me start off with one big thing and that's the design of the Pixel 2. Of course the XL is slightly different, so we're leaving that out for now, just disregard that for a second, but the Pixel 2 doesn't look amazing and it's subjective, of course. I do like the back, I think it looks pretty good. A lot of people hated the look of the back of the Pixel 2. I think it looks good. I personally like the little glass visor at the top and I like how it's laid out. I like the little neon button. That's fine with me. The main difference is when you turn it around and look at the front, because of course that screen is 1080p, which is okay. It's a £630 phone. You can get a 1080p AMOLED panel in the OnePlus 5, which is like what, almost £200 cheaper. Maybe that's more of a viable option nowadays. But let's go back to the Pixel 2. You get a 1080p AMOLED panel, which is great, but it's not very edge to edge. It's very square, which I like the squareness of it. Let's just be frank, I do like the squareness of it. But I don't like the fact that the bezels are huge. Okay, it's got stereo front firing speakers, but so's the XL. And I've seen many Google phones, such as the Nexus 6, that had stereo front firing speakers, and the bezels were much smaller on that phone. And to make matters worse, Google got rid of the headphone jack on a phone that's really not very edge to edge, really not very cutting edge. It's not the slimmest phone ever, and you took away the headphone jack. That's a bad move. Even Samsung, with their tapered edge, they're very close to the edge, glass and screen with minimal bezels, and even thinner design, managed to still have a headphone jack. So what's going on here? That's really not a good move from Google. And the camera looks good. I really like the fact that they've got like a single camera on the back. I think that looks better than a dual camera. You know, maybe it's different for other people, but I personally prefer having a single camera than a dual camera in terms of the aesthetics on the outside. Of course, it's different in functionality. But talking about that camera, it got a DxO mark of 98 and all this amazing stuff. I think it's one of the best cameras in a phone. I mean, it looks like the best camera in a phone. Obviously, I've never tried it, so I don't know. But either way, there's nothing really to say bad about the camera. Obviously, some people do want the dual camera. Some people want the tele lens. Some people want the wide lens. Some people just like it the way it is. I'm personally fine with the way it is. I don't really care about having two different lenses. That's why I have a mirrorless camera, because I can put whatever lens I want on there as long as I can afford it. But that's by the by. Now, what about performance specs? Well, they went with the Snapdragon 835, which is pretty standard. They only went with 4GB of RAM. Now, this is fine because me personally, I think 4GB of RAM is fine. But considering the last generation had 4GB of RAM, I think just upping it to 6 might have been better to look good on paper with numbers. But I think 4GB will be fine. I think going into the future, 4GB might become a problem. But for now, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. Obviously, a lot of people are expecting 6 or even 8GB of RAM in the Pixel 2. Again, that's something I'm not really too fussed about. I think if they went 3, that would have been just too little. But I think 4GB is definitely enough RAM, at least for now. Batteries. Well, they didn't exactly go huge on the batteries, did they? Especially on the XL. I mean, these phones have got like, some of these big phones, you know, the Samsungs and the LGs and all this, they have 6-inch screens. And 6-inch screens are quite big to a lot of people. So how come the batteries are so small? This is a 5.5-inch, fairly not tapered design on the S7 Edge, and this thing has a 3600 mAh battery in it, and hardly any of these 6-inch phones even get close to that, and they've got an extra half an inch on the screen size, and yeah, it's scary. Either way, I think the battery's just a little bit too small. I think the 5-inch should have had a 3000, I think the 6-inch should have had maybe near enough a 4000, but that's of course just me being me. I don't exactly know how the modern batteries work. Maybe because they're so efficient they don't need bigger batteries, but considering you got rid of the headphone jack, that should leave quite a lot of inside space inside the chassis for something like a bigger battery. Dunno, maybe it's just me being silly. And this is something that's big, the price. You don't really get a huge scope for just how kind of underwhelming this device is until you look at the price. It's a £620 starting price for the Pixel 2. Now, just to put that in perspective, like I said before, the OnePlus 5, which in my opinion, I would much prefer to buy, not just because of its, extra RAM and it's got a telephoto lens, but the thing just looks better in my opinion. It's got a nicer design, it's a better feel in the hand, although I don't know, and it's got an extra 0.5-inch screen, so that's nice as well. And a fingerprint scanner on the front, subjective. But this is almost £200 cheaper than that, and that's a big deal in my opinion, because I'm much more likely now to go for the OnePlus 5 than I am the Pixel 2. Unfortunately, I won't be buying any phones because I want the Red Raven. I'm just going straight for the Red Raven. So if you want to know anything to do about my personal life, I'm going for the Red Raven. Not going to buy any more phones, but if you look at it in an objective way, that's not a lot of stuff you're getting for your money compared to the OnePlus 5. And that's a big deal. Yes, you are getting IP67 water and dust resistance, but it's not IP68 like the Samsung, so if I had to be nitpicky here, I think it's silly it's not IP68, especially since you got rid of the headphone jack. And then you haven't got wireless charging, which Jonathan Morrison pointed out on Twitter, and I think it's a big deal. I agree with him personally, because I think it's a bigger deal than the fact that an iPhone has wireless charging now and your Pixel 2 doesn't leave a lot of room for us to say amazing things about the phone, because I've never used wireless charging on my S7 Edge, and I've never used wireless charging at all, mainly because I can't afford to go out and buy a pad for it. But it's just one of those things where it's like, you got rid of headphone jack, you got rid of wireless charging, all because, well, we don't know why you did it. It's just silly, you know what I mean? And the feature set isn't huge, is it? I mean, you haven't got a heart rate monitor like Samsung phones do. You haven't got the IP68 water and dust resistance. You haven't got the wireless charging. It's not amazing. You haven't even got a headphone jack if we're talking about features. Okay, you've got an amazing camera. I'll give you that. And I think on the Pixel 2 XL you did a better, not an amazing, but a better job with the screen to body ratio. Overall, it's just a really underwhelming device. Like, this is something that you wouldn't really compare to the iPhone. You would compare to the OnePlus 5, which is meant to be a flagship killer, not just a flagship. It's almost £200 cheaper, and you get a headphone jack, and you get a slightly bigger screen, and you get a telephoto lens. Okay, it's probably not quite as good as the Google phone, but it's a really, really better looking phone. I think Carl Pei, who said great job on the release, is looking at that and thinking, dude, we're about to get a bunch of sales because the Google Pixel is looking worse than the OnePlus 5 at a much more expensive price. So, well done to you, Carl Pei. If you were trolling there and slightly undermining Google in the background, then well done, mate. But what do you think about the Google Pixel 2? Of course, this is just my very, very objective comments. I personally don't necessarily like or dislike anything about the Pixel 2. It's just me comparing it to other phones and just saying that yes, okay, on its own this would be good, but in the market that we're in at the moment, and considering that we've had previous Google phones that have been pretty much a lot better than this one, how come it's taking almost a turn for the worst? Remember the Nexus 6, that was a gorgeous phone, 6-inch display, good screen to body ratio, stereo front firing speakers, big battery, headphone jack, all this stuff. And the Pixel 2 doesn't even have micro SD cards. Anyway guys, yeah, please do discuss this in the comments below. Please do absolutely roast me if you want in the comments. Please do like or dislike depending on your thoughts. And please subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. My name's been Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.